Hi, family. A brutal truth in estrangement is that we tend to, of course we do, human nature has us picturing and fantasizing in our ghost kingdom. That's what I've come to call mine, the place where life would have been as I pictured it for such a long time. We tend to live there and we picture our children and most especially our grandchildren. And in particular, if we were able to have a relationship with them during any period of time, we picture them as who they were. I've been on this journey of estrangement, ghosting, alienation, no contact. The label depends on when your kid tossed you into this trend, and it is a vicious, profit-driven trend. So I've been on this journey, this roller coaster ride from hell for off and on, mostly on, for 2 decades, over 2 decades now. And my granddaughter had her first child, living child, last November. And so she has grown. And my grandson is a year younger than her. And so he's over 18. And I, of course, like all of you, dreamed, at times, hoped beyond hope that they would come back to us, right? That's the hope that these little children that we remember and had so much fun with would come back to us. And I am sorry to have to be the one to tell you this, truly. I just hope that you take this as a cautionary tale. If they do come back, almost without question, they come back unrecognizable and not the little people that we once knew. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing for them at all. Of course, they continued to live and grow, and we weren't a part of that. It was taken from us. It was stolen from us and from them. When you're young, with your life ahead of you, that becomes further and further distant into your mirror of the past, and you don't really, it maybe doesn't have very much an effect on you. Recently, I've had a few interactions with first my grandson. It was just a few comments over the course of several months on the Daughter Wound Project Facebook page, and they gave me hope. And in my attempts to reach out to my grandson, I had asked a mutual connection who was very much a part of TJ's life when he was little to send an email, and he did. And during that process, my grandson said he would try to do better, try to be better, something like that. And in that, I heard my son. That's exactly what I heard. That would have been something that he would have said. And so for many months, I waited, sent a few messages, private messages that were never responded to. I attempted to connect with him on Threads and was blocked. And my guess is that, as it is in so many other cases with dysfunction, as much as he would have liked to connect with me, it would have made his life uncomfortable in many ways. And so over the course of Mother's Day, which as I record this, today's Father's Day, so it was a month ago, I also saw that once again my daughter had unblocked me on social media, and that has also been a pattern. It just seems like right around Mother's Day and my birthday, she would do that long enough just to make sure I was still in exile, still suffering. And so this year I did something I've never done before, and I blocked her, I guess before she could block me again. I don't know, I just had to make that decision to do that because, well, just because that, you can't breathe in that kind of air. And then I think it was less than a week later, I ended up also blocking my grandson, not out of anger. And I did detach with love. He's over 18 now. I just know that it was really a tragic epiphany. I guess that's a word I'd use to describe it. In that I was I was projecting my son on in his personality traits onto my grandson. In other words, my son never would have sat there for months and not connected with me. It just wouldn't. It was never a part of who he was. His sister is diametrically opposed. I don't know if it's because they had different fathers. I don't know. They were both raised in the same home, so I don't know. I do know that it's not healthy for me to project things onto my grandson, personality traits that he doesn't possess, or put false hope out there, because that's not good for me either, right? No, that's not a negative reflection on my grandson. I don't know anything about him, nothing. I mean, I know he graduated a few years ago. I know that I didn't know anything about it, or I would have been there. And my granddaughter just a few days ago, which actually I guess prompted this episode, also reached out via YouTube after my latest episode upload. And that too, it came with an epiphany. It was really good to hear from her. And she spoke, she wrote, rationally and calmly. And I was very, very glad to see that. That's definite growth. And her father sent a text and said she felt she'd been heard. And so that too was good. In all the years that I've sent gifts, nothing ever came back, not a text. My phone number has never changed. I've not moved in over 17 years. The kids were here a lot. I have many pictures of them at the pool and hiking and at water parks. So much I did with them. When I read some of what my granddaughter shared, I knew from actually the words that my therapist had said to me on more than one occasion, just rung in my ear. If and when you do connect, her perception is going to be very different from yours, and you'll just need to listen. And indeed, it was. The wonderful thing for me, and I recommend this highly to anyone new, and I'm hoping that those of you who have been on this path for a while were able to get memories and photographs and anything that is documentation of the reality that you lived, because I have literally hundreds of photographs of the time I spent with my grandchildren. In particular, Olivia and TJ, I got so much more time with them. I got much more time with Liv. TJ was then gone at 4. And Melanie came into my life at 5, and she was there for a wonderful window of time. And then that was gone. It was like, oh my God. So I have all these photographs and these memories that prove the time and the love and the effort that I spent on those babies. And that cannot be taken away. Now, I understand that trauma changes perception. I also understand that those kids were very young. And I guess that's all I'll say about that. But I will say this. I also very much heard my daughter speaking to me directly through that share that my granddaughter made. As I have said a few times now, and will respond in the same fashion until and unless this insanity ends. I'm just waiting for my daughter to come home. She knows where home is. She knows what home is. And we have to have the conversation without anyone standing between us. And then we can proceed. And my door here is open to that, has always been open to that. And I am very proud of my granddaughter Liv's courage. I don't know anything either about Liv or her baby. Nothing. I don't seek out information. It's just not healthy for me. That took much, much, much too long to come to understand. I am, however, very grateful that my granddaughter is in the room somewhere, sometimes, here with us. I hope that she always puts her son first. And I am exceedingly grateful that she extended her hand in a way that her grandmother finds great pride in. Thanks for listening.